Cell phones, social media, video games. Be the downfall of our existence.
How many TikToks do you send me in a day?
I didn't say I didn't enjoy it.
Welcome to the status quo. Let's start breaking it down. Smooth jazz.
Oh, wow.
So, last time we talked about Diablo 4.
Did we talk about Diablo 4
We talked about Diablo 4 last time.
The money grubbing.
Yeah.
No, we talked about Immortal and what we thought Diablo 4 might turn into.
What? But there was still talk of Diablo 4.
All right, fair enough.
So, while I am only technically correct, I am still correct. So, it's out now.
Shit we deal with.
Yeah. So, it's out now. So, what are the thoughts? And I think actually you're the only one that's played it. I've seen you play and he's seen Bear play, but...
So it's an open world game system now. It's not you can't make rooms and invite your friends and just do that 5, 6, 8 guys, whatever you're doing it with. Now it's just an open world, so everybody's in the world. And the only time you do specific things with the group that you're in is when you're hitting dungeons. And dungeons are random; they're everywhere. You can go. From what I understand so far that I've played, you can see them on the map, and then you head there and you go in and enter the dungeon, and your group goes with you. So nobody else can go in and do that part of the dungeon with you. The gameplay is pretty smooth. I only got through probably 15 levels so far, and I'm only done the sorcerer. Mechanics it's tougher. I'll give you that. Does
it kind of give you that Diablo 2 feel?
A little more. Yeah, as far as the stylizing of it goes, yeah, absolutely. But as far as the graphics goes, I don't know what they were doing with the graphics. The graphics are. I don't know. I still have to tweak mine out a little bit to see exactly how I like it, but it's too shiny. Everything's reflective. Everything's got glitter and gloss and all that kind of stuff.
Even away from that, like the UI or UX or whatever you want to call it, because John and I will sit here and argue for 30 minutes about that. Leave a comment in the comment sections. Do you think the UI or the UX is the pretty of the game?
The UX has to be the pretty.
Oh, it's not.
The UI
no,
is
it's
the
not.
function.
No, you can't give them.
Just put it to a vote and let them decide. Because you guys,
that's
2 years they've been arguing about this one point.
Anywho, so it seems like the UI itself is back to like the Diablo 2 kind of simplified. Is that a word? I'm pretty sure. A very, very simple user interface overall. It looks clean, but it looks so simple that it just looks like it's lacking a ton.
It's almost exactly the same as D3. So it's got the mana and the health and all your major spells. The skill tree is totally different. So when you get your points, you can go through your skill tree the way it all ends up being the same. And it's most of all the same, a lot of the same spells. I remember, like I said, I've done 15 levels. The spells are still the same, and I've only played one class.
You want to silence your phone?
Yeah.
Go off like 20 more times. I'll edit that out.
So all the spells are so far that I've seen are pretty much the same. They don't have Frostbeam. I haven't gotten that far yet. You got that normally the other one on level 11. It may come in later. I didn't look through all the tree to see what was allowed. But it's a lot easier to specialize if you're going to do lightning or frost or fire or poison or whatever it's going to be. So that was pretty cool.
But I feel like that takes away from like the uniqueness of builds that we could have in Diablo 3. Because as terrible as Diablo 3's release was, it ended up being a pretty decent game.
Yeah, it was solid. Like I said, I've only done maybe an hour or two. The leveling on it is slower by far. I'll give you that. And I'm sure when you get up to higher levels, it's going to be hella hard.
Well, I mean...
So it took me 2 hours to get to 13, whereas D3 it would take you probably 15 minutes.
Well, hold on. But that's the difference between D3 now versus D3 release. When D3 was released, it took a while to go through the story and level up.
Yeah, because if you think about it, how long did it take us to get max level characters? I mean, between
time,
living in the middle of nowhere, having terrible internet, and somebody turning the microwave on and everything crashing, I mean, we probably lost 20 plus characters before we even got anywhere close to 70.
It's only because we did everything hardcore. We'd have just done
60.
Oh yeah, it would have been 60 the first time. That's right.
But it's only because we always did hardcore. So this one now, and I lost my first hardcore because that's what I did first. I lost to level 6. But
hey, at least it's not John with his monks dying every freaking 5 minutes.
And that's why I'm disappointed about Diablo 4. No monks or paladins.
Yeah, no, I was totally disappointed in that one. A core character, the paladin, just not. I was like, and I know what they're going to do, and this is I'm going to call it now. They're going to do the expansion, and you're going to have to buy that character, just like you did with the Necromancer when they did D3.
Well, and the Paladin when they did D3. The Paladin didn't come with the game.
No, paladin came with the expansion.
Correct.
Came with
so
the
you had to
expansion.
buy the expansion.
The Necromancer was the only character that you just bought outright.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all that did was prove that they can release a character as DLC and people will buy it.
Buy it, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a whole bunch of like other stuff that was going on. So originally D3 was supposed to be a three tier
release.
Correct. So there was supposed to be another story after Reapers of Souls, but because of poor performance and stuff like that, they scrapped and apparently went to work on Diablo Immortal or something. I don't know.
Diablo Immortal, you mean the greatest mobile game since the beginning of
we all
time?
have phones, right?
Yeah.
I had it on my phone for about 15 minutes and deleted it.
And which is funny because I never played it on my phone. I played it on the computer.
I downloaded it on my phone, and then I had to go do something, and I got 6 notifications in an hour of having it downloaded. And I was like, okay, you're not worth my time. Delete. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so it was supposed to be more expansions with Diablo on top of that, but because they scrapped it, they still wanted to give out the character, which was going to be Necromancer, because I'm assuming it was going to be tied into whatever part they were doing. And they still like gave you free content in the sense of new maps, new areas, but it's kind of like one of those things you have to kind of go looking for. It's like, oh, this is new because this wasn't here before. Like, oh, what's behind this? And find like those books, right, that talk about like the area.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's fun and dandy, like some of those things just to explore. It's like if you want to tell me something lore specific about this area, like put it in front of me, not like, oh, let me go out of the way over here on this random, exploration that I happen to find it, and just like, oh, did you know this? It was like, wait, this would have been important to know, probably here, what have you.
Earlier in the game, so I could have put it into my gameplay and done it in the path.
Yeah, but the whole point is that they charge $15 for a class, and it just proved the point that they can do it in the future.
Wow. No, the shitty thing is, I guarantee you that everything's already made, and they're just holding it until they do it. Just like the Necromancer. I guarantee you the Necromancer was already made. Just like we have characters in our game that are already in the game system that we're just not using.
How many people do you, like, all right, so they already have the base structure for a monk, the base structure for Paladin, right? Because you play the wizard, right?
Yep.
So how different is the wizard now versus the wizard in D3?
The only thing I've noticed so far is they don't give you Frostbeam, which was a powerful one that I used.
Well, understandably, but like as far as like mechanic wise,
nothing.
So they already have characters that they've already reutilized, and from what I figured from the rogue, isn't it like the hatred discipline thing, or is it just mana? Like I don't know.
I haven't played Diablo 4. I've only watched
the only
it.
other person I had.
I've only had it for a couple days.
There.
Yeah, I haven't had time to.
Well, we'll have to get Bear's opinion on it too at some point.
Right.
But and not even like you take away the gameplay aspects of it, and you take away the skill trees and like what they changed and called new. It's essentially the same game, but like the art style, they completely destroyed the art style. Like Diablo 3 had this very good, dark, dingy, gruesome feel to it, versus this, like you were saying earlier, everything's just shiny.
Yeah, it was.
Everything's bright and shiny, and that's not how Diablo should be.
No, and I'm with you. Some of the areas that I went into when I was playing, it's dark and nasty and bloody and gory and all things you come to expect when you're playing a game that's named Diablo. So they're there. It's just not out in the open world part of it. So you don't see that when you're running around the map. But when you hit dungeons or if you're going into part of the storyline, it's there. So it's a little more hidden than I don't think it's out. And like I said, I've only done 15 levels, so I couldn't even tell you what's farther down the road.
I wonder. I almost just want to go to the Diablo 4 Reddit and see what all the players are saying and be like, I wonder if they're as like annoyed with Diablo 4 as we are, right? Because from everything I've heard from people I talk to, we're like the only people in the world that don't like Diablo 4.
Well, it's not that I don't not like it. I just
refuse to like anything.
The expectation was more, I think.
I don't know if I want
playable.
You don't know if you want to pay $90 for a game
Right.
that is just
I had to choke
that's
on
just
that.
Diablo 3.
Correct.
I had to choke on
Especially
that
when
a
it
little
doesn't
bit.
have like the classes that I want in there. It's just like really you took away like some of the cooler, in my opinion, some of the cooler classes and what for.
Because they are a couple of the good classes. Those two are very powerful classes, and that's what they're going to do later on. They're going to charge you for them so you can play them, or they're going to release it as part of a content. You can pay the extra $10 to get the class.
Okay,
It's just a money grubbing.
So
strategy.
on that point, not to switch topics here, but have you guys seen the trailer for Fable 4?
No, I haven't liked any of the Fables.
I liked 1 and 3. 2 was but
Really?
yeah,
1 and 3?
1 and 3.
Didn't like 2.
It was all right. Hey, off topic. Just the most unsatisfying video game trailer I think I've ever watched in my life. Like, it looked like that indie game that came out a couple of years back where you're like the little tiny person running away from the librarian or whatever weird thing that was. It's supposed to be like some horror game. I'll have to look it up and show you guys later, but it was just the only gameplay they showed was the hero in somebody's house, and they're being chased by this dude that's, I think, in this century, talking about heroes and heroines and all that. We'll have to go watch it because it's just the most ridiculous video I've seen.
Pull it up.
Yeah, right.
I lost interest in Fable when your brother wanted to play it, and all he ever did was play the bad guy, and every choice he made was the bad guy choices. I'm like, no, that's get it out of here. He was too young to need to be doing that, and I just haven't touched it, looked at it since. I mean, your sisters both love it, but
yeah, I bought the anniversary edition of number 1.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great game.
No interest in that game whatsoever.
Fantastic game. Graphically, much to be desired. Gameplay wise, very enjoyable.
It did have a unique.
Well, wasn't it announced to be like the ultimate in AI interpretation of good and evil? You can make your choices. It was open to doing whatever.
It's not.
Words.
No.
I don't ever remember anybody like.
It's
It was supposed to be like the next best freaking.
That might have been Fable 4, but the problem is like they put out 3 and then Lionsgate disbanded and then they got back together and then they were producing Fable 4 and then it fell through and
Lionsgate
then
disbanded the whole company.
yeah, well, and then Lionsgate was like now they're really disbanded and then somebody else picked up Fable 4 and now it's just like yeah, it's very interesting. And there's actually this huge controversy about the heroine being ugly. And it like taking 10 seconds, they could have like made the character look a lot better. It was funny. I was watching a video this morning on it. It was pretty funny. But yeah,
should you have ugly characters in video games?
Why not?
People ask me that all the time. Why do you play female characters? Because I don't want to look at the guy's butt running in front of me the whole time when I'm playing a video game. If it's going to be a butt in front of me, it's going to be a girl's butt. Doesn't change the character play at all. I'm just saying.
Okay. Alrighty then.
No, when I play a game, I'm envisioning that's me that's playing. So that's what I know I do.
You're watching your character. It's running away from you the whole time. It's running away from you. So,
third persons.
So
another vote.
Yeah, right. That's a good question. Leave a comment below. Do you guys play female characters when you play, or do you play male characters, or vice versa? Does it match your gender?
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah. No, we're canceled. We're canceled. So on top of that, back to Diablo and Blizzard. We were talking earlier about gaming conventions. So like E3, PAX East, PAX West, like all that kind of stuff. So
no North or South.
I don't think. Do they have a PAX North? I don't know. I haven't been to one, so I couldn't tell you.
You're prepped for this podcast, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
So obviously E3 was supposed to be a couple months ago, and then a whole bunch of people pulled out, and they kind of just canceled it. So what do you guys think about those conventions in general? Like, should gaming companies still push to try and have those for the community, or is it just kind of a moot point?
I think it went from announcing new product and showing new stuff and new AIs and new interfaces and new graphics and all that new stuff to now it's just more of a
repeat
hash
here's a
of
new
all
skin
the
of this, here's a
stuff
new
they're
skin of
doing.
that.
And you gotta get the gaming competitions and all that stuff. But everything just boils down to everybody's so money hungry with all the stuff that they're doing. That's the only reason they're doing it, is to put money in the coffers to placate their shareholders and all that. I mean, it's just ridiculous anymore.
Like, well, I mean, so as far as like E3 and stuff like that, it kind of gave like that community as far as like healthy competition of like, oh,
Yeah.
like
Originally,
Xbox is like, oh, they're announcing this game, and then like PlayStation's like, oh yeah, but we have this game
Right.
that we're gonna announce, and then Nintendo's just like, screw you guys, here's our new console.
Yeah,
Which,
it used to be a challenge and a big event. Now it's just money. Money.
right. Well, as far as like their own individual ones, like I do get why they would want to do it, but there's no like, or with BlizzCon, right? BlizzCon was like one of the first to like be its own, you know, con for a company, but they had a lot of they have so much player fan base over what, 3 IPs, pretty much what Diablo, StarCraft, and Warcraft, right? With like beloved characters and stuff like that for them to cosplay or do whatever to find like-minded people, and it gave Blizzard a chance. Like, all right, this is when we're gonna release all our new shit is on this day, so people will come to find out what's next for
Yeah.
this company, and you do generate that kind of excitement for that company, and it's just like, but like when you had E3, it's like, when you think of Microsoft, right? You just think of like Xbox or PlayStation. You think of certain games, but like it's not like Blizzard, where like the whole like story lore and behind all these other characters. As far as like, I don't know. I just feel that E3 was more of a who
Who could swing the bigger EP?
correct.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of weird.
And it was nice because like you went to one booth saying that how much better they are, and then you go to the next booth and say how much better they were, and you went to the other one to be like, okay, we're gonna be totally different from you guys, and here's our innovation. Because in reality, I mean, as much people they want to shit on like Nintendo, right, for like their console and as far as how powerful they are, they've been innovating, pretty much since the beginning. When you think about it, as far as how they approach and who their target audience is. I mean, to this day, like, yeah, okay, you may have your Xbox and PlayStation that are more for like the mature players, right? But here's Nintendo that's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna cater to the young, or it's gonna
Family.
look like it's catered to the young,
Families.
but anyone can fucking play this.
Well, it's funny you say that because Nintendo did it right
right.
versus like the Steam Deck. I was in the store, Best Buy this morning, messing with.
I still don't know what it's. Steam Deck, is this Steam Deck just a?
It's just
Look,
it's like
Game
not a glorified Game Boy. It's like a Switch,
Yeah.
but for PC. So, but it's attached to your Steam account, and there's like specific Steam Deck optimized games that you can play on there.
Right.
Anywho, I was playing with the ROG version of it. Republic of Gamers. Asus's.
Is it ROG or is it Rogue? I call it Rogue.
I'm pretty sure it's ROG.
Rogue has
It is Republic of Gaming. I get it, but Rogue. I like Rogue.
I like ROG. But I was messing with their Steam Deck, and like I opened one game, Forza. As soon as I clicked on the game, it said, "This unit is not optimized to play this game." And I click the OK button, and then it loads the game, and then it crashes. And I was like, "Okay." Walked right over to the freaking the new OLEDs that Nintendo put out.
Uh-huh.
Open the game, start playing some Mario Kart, and I'm like, "Well, all right. Well, I might have to buy one of these," which I probably will here soon, anyways. But yeah, I think Nintendo did a very good job of marketing to a very specific group of people for a very long time. And now that we're all older, we're like, oh no, we still want to play all the Nintendo games.
But here's the thing, though, right? Like, okay, how much is an Xbox?
It's $500.
Right, and how much is PS5? Yeah, it's $500, right? Nintendo, $299.
Yeah, well, then they're all going up. They're going up. With the PlayStation and Xboxes are just going up and up and up.
Well, because they're trying to fit a computer inside of.
Correct, and they will, and they have, and it's gonna be like $1,000 freaking dollars, and every freaking kid's gonna want them for Christmas. And
Yeah, but then at that point, your cost of entry to PC gaming is
It's
right,
right-
is
it's
right,
right
there.
there.
So you might as well PC game, PC
It's-
Master Race.
Yeah.
What's your favorite console? Leave it down in the comment section.
Well, mine is TTRPG. So all this console and game
I don't
system
think
shit
that's a
to go-
gaming. Well, I guess technically it's a
system.
gaming
It was a-
system. It was the OG.
It's just
No,
as
no, what
expensive.
else-
Trust me.
It's the OG gaming system.
It's just as expensive.
Pen and paper.
Well, it could not be, but it doesn't help that we have like 200 books at home.
No, it's expensive.
I've probably lost more dice than I currently have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe
it's
it.
a lot.
That's probably.
Well, especially when every time he throws one for throwing a one.
Don't roll a one.
Yeah.
I'll throw you away.
Going across the yard into the street. Always
Fine.
always fun on that one. So gaming conventions, you don't really care that they're going away. It's kind of the way of the old.
I miss the fact that I miss the EPU swinging of like who was the better one. Now you just have like YouTubers that are assuming it, and it's like okay,
Yeah, you get people like us who talk about who's better,
correct. So like,
and it'll never be Blizzard.
instead of the company trying to prove like, hey, this is our shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, the internet came out, free marketing essentially.
Right, but it's also nice to like have like a place once a year. It's like, oh, here's when they're gonna announce all the new releases, right? And then it used to be E3, but then like okay, Pack East and Pack West came out, which were like I think they were competitions first, and then they started releasing. Oh, we're gonna release our information first on Pack East, and then it became its own convention. It's like,
I think
well, now you have like so many times a year that new releases come out, but to be honest, games aren't coming out like as fast as they used to. Well, not as fast as they used to, but like new games aren't
quality games. You ain't getting them.
Every new game that's announced is either a sequel or plus, right, to what were great games.
Yeah.
Like even Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom, but it's a fucking great ass game. So
No, I do see your point though. Like nobody's truly released a new game, a new franchise, a new title. It's all just, oh, here's COD 46. Come spend a whole bunch of money on buying skins that are completely useless.
Gone so far that they're coming back to redo some of the old ones, remastered in a reimagined light.
Because they can't come up with new games that are good.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what it all comes down to.
Yeah, I think
Nothing that's coming out now is good.
Right. Well,
It's
I
not
think
new
that's what
stories.
you're running into is the nostalgia of all that has all worn off. So all that going to E3, E4, all that stuff, it's been the younger generation is not into it. They can do it all on YouTube. And the older generation is I'm not wasting my money on that shit anymore. So you're kind of it's going away. It's just not there anymore.
So then, would you support something more like a BlizzCon, where it's a company putting it on their own? So okay, so say 10 years down the line, we're like, oh, there's no more E3. Let's do a Sundered Con. Like, would you be against that, or would you be like, this is a good idea?
I don't. To me, the whole thing started out for the E3s and all that stuff. It wasn't about making money. It was about getting people together and enjoying the culture and the environment and the challenges of creating new games and new systems and having new ideas and sharing all that shit with each other, not competition with everybody. We're trying to squash everybody. We got to make more money than everybody.
So before it was a celebration versus...
It was more of a
celebration community.
Yeah, not a...
Yeah.
Who can make the most money and quash everybody else out. Like Microsoft just loves to kill everybody. Yeah. Blizzard loves to kill everybody. It's like, why?
And if we get to that point, that's what it would be for us. It would be like, hey, we did all of this stuff all year long. Like, yeah, we want to celebrate our achievements, but we also want to understand that, like, you guys did this.
Yeah,
we produced it, but the only reason we produced anything was because you guys wanted to play it.
Yeah, so come as your favorite character. Come get some of the lore. Talk to the creators who went through all that stuff and have conversations with it. It's like
if you look at,
and I'm not trying to bust on Critical Role, but Critical Role went from that was awesome, cool, and nostalgic to watch them play and do all that stuff because it was just a bunch of friends having a good time. To I don't know if you watch their new stuff, but it's so far incorporated that it doesn't seem like it'd be fun anymore.
Yeah. Do you remember? I'm trying to remember the last good BlizzCon. And I think it was just after the Cataclysm release, where it was like truly.
Is that the one that had Metallica? Was there closing?
It might have been. I don't remember.
You know where I lost it? Is when BlizzCon went virtual.
Well,
buy your virtual tickets so you
that
can
was
watch
all the
online.
COVID
but-
idiocy.
No.
Oh no, they did that before COVID,
Correct.
didn't they?
Yeah,
No,
way
no.
before.
The reason why I liked it is because I couldn't afford to go to BlizzCon. I can afford the virtual ticket.
Right, but then
No.
it's just again trying to get your money.
Okay, but hold on. As much as they want to say, "Oh, we're just trying to get your money," not everyone could go to California, go to the con,
and then
spend thousands of dollars to go there for room and board, housing, and
I get
traffic,
it, just like
stuff
going
like
to
that.
Disneyland. I'm with you.
Or I can pay them $50, and I get to see all the content that they got to see. No, I didn't get to go see all the. No, I got to see all the panels if I wanted to.
But you had to pay for each one of them.
Or- You bought the ticket, you had access to everything. That's if you're at the con. So when they first came out with it, it was a good idea because, yeah, they got a shit ton more money because, hey, now they're not limited to travel expenses and stuff like that. And I can't experience what it would have been like to actually be there. It's like, it's like going to Disneyland, right? Or, see someone walking around the video camera and just, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I wish I was there. Oh, that's cool. It's like, oh, yes.
Yeah, but on his point, it was still money grubbing because they could have made it free.
Could have.
You easily could have made probably more money
Fair enough.
on giving people commercial slots within your stream.
Yeah.
So they could have figured out a way to make it free for the community to show the community they actually give a shit about them, instead of being like, oh, let's just charge you more money. And so
How much did you pay?
we're innovative.
$100?
$50.
$50?
I mean, not terrible, but
no, I lost interest in that point. You're having a virtual tour, but no. To me, honestly, what they should do is take that whole, and it's a cost of their company.
But
Take that whole thing.
They actually
and
did
move
have
it throughout
some
the
free
country.
parts so like for the main stage stuff, that was broadcast live.
Yeah.
And free. The virtual ticket got you to see all the other stuff.
all the panels.
Correct.
That's fair. But
So they did offer some free. Like, you got to remember, Blizzard wasn't as scumbaggy back in the day as they are now.
just don't go read articles about them back in the day.
Okay, aside what happened in the office, I can't speak to that. But as far as like how they were doing their business prior to nowadays business was a lot less scummy than.
No, I agree. It felt when they originally were doing BlizzCon, I feel like they were way more engaged with their community.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus nowadays, I feel like it's a box they check so that they can see the revenue.
After a lot of the original Blizzard people started to leave, like Metzen, Moheim, and all them, that's when obviously there was a change in Blizzard structure, which, changed some more money grubbing.
So, going from conventions to something else kind of in the gaming community, esports. Do you feel, what's that? It's in the game. Not EA Sports. Do you feel like esports are good for the gaming community? Do you feel like it does justice to the games? Do you what's your thoughts on that?
So I thought there was going to be like a whole lot of potential for the whole esports genre, right? But it never made it. I mean, it made it like one time on like ESPN, but versus like conventional sports, I wish there was more behind it. Like I wish there was more of it.
I think it just wasn't invested enough into. It got really popular for a very long time. Riot Games did an extremely good job of like producing esports, but Blizzard did a completely shit job. The first time they did it, it was really good, and then they like handed it off to other people and said, "We don't want anything to do with this," and it just turned into.
And that was another thing for like
a half-assed
They're supposed
production.
to be like the championships of like whatever game that was.
Yeah.
The esports, but like the thing is like what do you consider an esports game? Because like I think half the problem with esports is that anything that has a hard mode or a ranking system is considered like an esports where they can have a tournament. And like, well, I'm not gonna sit around watching a Call of Duty esport or a Call of Duty tournament. It's like that's just not fun.
I feel like anything that's player versus player, you can easily do. You can't esport Diablo. There's no way. Unless you did like dungeon timers and like stuff. But like even like the.
Well, I mean they did that with Magic or Mythic.
Yeah, correct. So like the Mythics, I don't find enjoyment in watching people clear trash like quickly. Like that just makes no sense. You're pitting. I get it that there's a lot of skill involved in Mythics and timers and all that other crap.
I mean,
but the player versus player aspect is
the fact that they're
to
able
me
to
what pulls
take dungeon running to an extreme to where they had teams competing against each other, like on a head-to-head level. Like that part, I found interesting. It's like, okay, who has the better setup? Who has the better stuff? But then, like, in the end, yeah, you're right. They're just fighting trash, right?
Correct.
Like my favorite ones to watch were MOBAs as far as, and I like to watch Hero of the Storm ones because they were more objective based as opposed to like, oh, let's just get the kills and snowball like all our way through. You know, so
I have no comment on the subject.
Yeah,
well,
I think the biggest issue with esports is like the community, the company doesn't engage into it with the community like they should.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so you think it's up to the company who made the game to facilitate this esports?
I feel like if they had done it properly when it started, there probably could have been somebody who would have picked it up and then actually rolled with it. Like
when you say someone that picked it up, you talking about like ESPN or
no, or somebody who wants to be an ESPN type thing,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a YouTube channel that like builds his own studio and gets like teams to come in and do tournaments and all that kind of stuff. Like, had there been enough traction behind it to start with, I think somebody would have picked it up.
Well, I mean, there's still tournaments out there. There's still stuff going on. It's just
but it's always like League of Legends.
Right.
The people who host the League of Legends tournaments only do League of Legends, and they only do it like once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if it were something where it's like actual seasons and like, oh, we're doing from these 2 months, we're doing like full on League of Legends tournaments, and then we're gonna do Dota tournaments during the day, and then League at night, and then you like rotate through so that you have that constant viewership. You have the different aspects and the different games that people like to watch and enjoy. And then you make it worthwhile not only for the people who are watching, but you make it worthwhile for the people who are actually playing. Because like a lot of those esports tournaments, other than League of Legends, weren't really paying all that much money. Like it was more about, oh, we're the best, not like, oh, we're getting money out of this. Like it's worthwhile for me to spend 12 hours a day playing a freaking video game.
Well, some of those teams got paid.
It will be the downfall of society, just in my opinion.
Video games?
Video games. The way that they promote video games to make it more and more part of a child's or a young adult's life, as opposed to anything else that we have going on in the world that needs to get done. Construction, electricians, plumbing, all the skill sets that we're losing because kids are doing this or keyboard mouse. 100%. I love video games. Don't get me wrong, but they should be monitored, metered, and not just freaking free. It's too much. Cell phones, social media, video games will be the downfall of our existence.
How many TikToks do you send me in a day?
I
didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I'm just saying it will be our downfall.
No, but that's kind of the point in us. That's kind of the point of what we're doing.
Correct.
Like
as a company, it's going to be metered when we do it, and it's not your.
Well, the thing is that like, okay, even if a kid does play like a lot of video games, he is developing a certain type of skill set, and it's not what you think.
No, I'm going to argue with that until the day I die. Us
that's because you're
sitting
very
around the table and having a conversation and playing a
because you're very
TTRPG.
Physical.
We are all enjoying each other's company and developing our social skills,
right?
And being friends, being involved, that's causing anxiety. The blue screens and all that stuff, the dissociative nature that it causes, all of it. Right. You're sitting in your room by yourself with your lights out, got your screen on, and all you're doing. It's amazing how many videos you see of people, young kids, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, whatever it is, screaming, yelling, rage quitting, cursing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's bad parenting. That's bad parenting.
The culture of the video game.
That's bad parenting.
It's how many times
you know what? I don't agree with John very often, but I agree with him on this.
That is bad fucking parenting. No, I'm calling all your parents out. If your kid was a fucking spoiled little brat that curse or whatever over the phone or over comms, right? You need to bitch slap them like hard.
All right, PG.
Sorry, you need to talk some sense into them because
Right,
and
but
you're
it's
being
the,
a bad
it's
parent
the
for
peer
allowing.
pressure for the kids get. Oh, Mom and Dad, I need to do this, and not
Well,
all parents are
but
watching
the
all their
thing is,
kids.
there's always peer pressure. It's not.
I'm with you.
There's not just peer pressure in video. It's peer pressure everywhere. And the whole thing that, like, growing up is that, your parents talk to you. Don't let peer pressure get to you. That's why you don't smoke. This is why you don't drink. This is why you don't do stuff.
But I think it's that generation.
I understand, but that's bad parenting.
I'm not saying it's not, John. I'm just saying that's
Don't
the
blame.
culture of that.
No.
The parents.
But this is like the same argument why people
I was totally different with him. I would like go take out the trash, and he would like 15 minutes later still be playing his video game. I'd walk in and hit the button, take out the trash. He'd be pissed, but he'd understand. Like 10 minutes later, yeah, okay, I turn it back on, and I'm exactly where I was 5 minutes ago.
Well, except for I was in the middle of a dungeon, and I was lead tanking freaking Ice Crown, and then it's like,
well, either way, you can say, hey, BRB.
Could have.
Now you have to waste the whole fact that you got disconnected. No one knows where you are. Be like, what the fuck happened to our main tank? You're out taking the trash and now having a discussion with your father about, why everything happened. And then, 20 minutes later, now you're back and be like,
there wasn't always a discussion.
Sorry, guys.
It was more just like, I did it right. And I'm like, yeah.
But either
your
way.
mom tells you to go do something. That's not I'll get there when I get there. It's go do it now.
Right. But that's you parenting.
Correct.
Right.
So are we saying
the generation after me, before you, that's the one where they're all giving all those kids all these phones, all the computer game systems, and just letting them do whatever they're doing.
I understand, but what I was trying to get at is that people who do practice, not obsessed, or this is all they do, that develop, they are developing a skill set, not necessarily a physical skill set to where they can make something.
I'm with you.
But their mind
if you take that kid and drop them off in the middle of a forest and they can't use any of those skill sets that they freaking learn playing a video game, then it's not a skill set.
I would disagree with that.
You can do that with a lot of people and no one's going to survive.
I'm with you. But
unless you have a specific survival skill set.
No. A common sense.
No.
They want to go. Where's my backpack with all my tools in it?
Someone who does nothing but extreme sports, skateboard, snowboard, right? That's a skill set. Not everyone can do it.
When they physically do it, absolutely.
Right. But you put them out in the wilderness, they're not going to survive. They're going to survive just as well as the guy that
they're going to be a hell of a lot more ready to do it than some.
No, they're not.
Yes,
how are they going to be ready? They're not going to know what to do. They don't know how to make fire.
They're physically capable.
They're physically capable, but they don't know what the fuck to do.
Don't get mad at me.
No. I'm not trying to get mad. I'm just getting excited.
We went from game talk to how to parent, so it's
I'm just saying it's like you're trying to blame something that if unless you have a skill set.
I'm not blaming any person. I'm blaming the culture.
I got you, but I'm just saying you're trying to make a point to where if you don't have the skill set, you're not going to survive. A lot of people don't have that skill set to survive when they've done other stuff, not just gaming.
Right, but how much gaming have you done in your life?
More than I care to admit.
Okay. Could I drop you off in the middle of the woods but you survive?
Yeah, but I grew up in the middle of Alaska.
Okay.
So you can balance that skill set. And you see videos of kids all the time, and they're like give them a rotary phone. Can you use a rotary phone?
Yeah.
Can you use a microwave? Can you use a tape deck? Just all the basic whatevers. Just common sense.
Well, part of that stuff I grew up with. You can't blame the kids nowadays for growing up.
You never had
with
a rotary
stuff.
phone in the house ever.
Yeah, but you knew what one was.
When you were like 10, huh?
But you knew what one was.
I did, yeah. I used it.
So did I. I knew what one was.
I never had to use a rotary phone.
Before I'd seen one in person, I knew what it was.
Yeah, because you don't spend your whole life sitting behind a computer screen.
No, I spent most of my life behind a computer screen, aside from when I'm playing baseball or outside.
See? Baseball.
Right.
Cool.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's not going to let me survive.
Baseball, socializing.
No, that's not going to allow me to survive out in the wilderness by myself. I'm not going to know which way. I didn't know. I still don't know which way is in the fucking north.
You know where the North Star's at?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Do you know which side the? Do I know where it is? Yeah, it's north.
Do you know where the Big Dipper is?
Can
you identify the Big Dipper in the night?
I can, just because I've seen it so many times.
Right off the front tip of the pan is the North Star.
Well, how do I know it's not the Little Dipper?
Because the Little Dipper's
small. Little Dipper's like this big, and the Big Dipper's takes up half the sky.
I don't know if it's that drastic.
It's pretty big.
I don't know. I didn't think the Little Dipper was that little.
It's tiny. It's tiny. If you're doing them in comparison, Little Dipper would probably be this big. Big Dipper would probably be not that big.
Gotcha.
Now we're doing astrology.
Correct.
But I'm just saying, either way, I didn't grow up with a survival
So just name me a skill set that you learned by playing video games that helps you in life at all.
logic.
Which is what?
Helps me all the time in life.
Because you're computer programming. But how does that help you in life, just in life in general?
How does logic not help somebody?
Right.
In life?
I'm not saying logic. I'm just saying, it's puzzles. That's puzzles. And
right. I learned my puzzle solving and stuff like that. That's a skill set
I hear you.
that I learned.
I get you.
My Tetris skills directly related to how clean my receiving department was when I was at Home Depot. Thank you.
Spatial awareness.
Spatial awareness.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of value in playing video games, and I think there's a lot of value
You're gonna be
in.
a pilot.
Hold on.
You're gonna be a race car driver.
Shut up for 5
Why
seconds.
are you always limiting it to just like one thing? You don't look at the aspect of what a video game is. Like you can get, like Bear, right? He's a storyteller. I'm pretty sure he loves playing video games because of the stories that it was told to it. To me, like you, I'm not a very big reader, right? So I can't get my stories from reading a book. I get my stories from playing video games. So all the good, evil that I've learned were from video games. So there is value to video games if it's done right. Like my math,
It's done right.
right? My math was done through video games. I had Math Blaster as a kid, so.
Well, I learned typing on a computer too, so I learned how to type. But it's
I was going to say, where else are you going to learn typewriting but doing it right? Yeah, no.
I used to have an old.
Yeah. Like, people are always
The Elite
amazed.
10-point? Yeah, I used to have one of those.
Yeah, people are always amazed at my typing skills, and I'm like, yeah, it's because I played video games my entire life. And just like going. But there's a lot to be said, and there's a lot to be learned by playing video games. There's also a lot to be learned and taught by the parents as to like, hey, a lot of things in life need to be taken care of before you sit down to play your video game for a couple hours.
Correct.
You don't just get to sit at your computer.
And if you want your kid to have survival skills, if you want people to have survival skills, you teach them goddamn survival skills.
Yeah, make them play Minecraft. Then they know how to survive.
And then show them how to actually make a fire.
Shelter, hunger,
and zombies.
And zombies. Yeah, can't forget the zombies. Make sure you put torches around your house. Don't want no creepers. Oh.
Well, that got way off topic.
I got way off topic real quick. Yeah.
But esports.
No comment.
No, we're past esports at this point.
No, but we were on the topic of esports.
Well, we went into company engagement within their community, which
I think a solid company engagement you can do without overtaxing the pocketbook of everybody who wants to participate in it.
Agreed.
The company can still make a profit, but not be. It doesn't have to. You don't have to fund the next 10 years of your company with one convention.
So, Guild Wars just did this, and I just appreciate it because I like their games, but they just did drops on Twitch for their new expansion that they not even expansion, it was just an update to their current expansion. So basically it was you watch 4 hours worth of Twitch content and you get a free bag slot for your character in the game. So cool, super easy, doesn't cost them anything. I mean, it might because of microtransactions within the game, but that's neither here nor there. But it drives people to watch your game. It drives people to stream your game. It drives people spending money on those Twitch streamers to keep them Twitch streaming. Like, it does so much. It was such a small thing for them to do, but it drove so much engagement, and it drove so much for their community. It doesn't have to be a freaking con once a year to actually be engaged with your community. Yeah. All it takes is you fucking being able to give your community things without expecting anything in return. And just being there for them. And unfortunately, I think that's the note we're going to end on because we're running a little past our time today.
So do we have time? Shit.
Well, I had time.
Gotcha.
Trying to keep everything succinct. All right.
TTRPGs, number 1.
TTRPG, Latera, coming soon.
Coming soon.
We'll see.
In a month.
About a month.
I think. I honestly think that if Bear and I sat down, we could probably knock that out in probably a week.
You would have to have a week to sit down. Anywho, this has been the status quo, and we've broken down parenting, astrology, video games, and a lot more than we probably should have.
Skill sets.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Peace.